Hello and welcome to Moneylife. This is Sucheta Dalal. This week, we are going to revisit a scam that goes back to the Ketan Parekh days, but rather one individual who goes back to those days. I don't know how many of you invested in the market in the turn of the century, the dot-com bubble, then the K10, Ketan Parekh stocks, but one person used to be very notorious those days, Dinesh Dalmia of the DSQ software group. Here, DSQ software, here, DSQ biotech, and it is one of the most incredible stories that I have reported in my 35 years plus in journalism. So my story this time is that serial fraudster Dinesh Dalmia strikes again. Believe it or not, after spending a long stint in jail in 2006, he is accused of having duped a bunch of lenders, top banks, of nearly 200 crores. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dinesh Dalmia is the notorious founder of DSQ Software. He spent a significant time in jail for fraud, stock manipulation, and other legal transgressions in India. When things got hot in India, he fled to the US, got back to his old ways. The FBI began an investigation. He defrauded US companies to the tune of $130 million and then ran back to India where he was finally arrested. This time, like I said, he is supposed to have duped 8 banks and finance companies, but I think there are 9, of 200 crores and has trapped several individuals in his activities. Despite these serious allegations, Mr. Dalmia denies everything. I got his number, I WhatsApped him. He sent me a string of WhatsApp messages where he just flatly denies everything. He says he has no livelihood, he has no money, he's living in Kolkata at the mercy of his mother, how his sons are in jobs. He insists that he's a victim and a scapegoat. Now, to be a victim and a scapegoat, first of all, you have to be involved in something. The involvement in this case is a dairy business. He says, I know nothing about the dairy business, which is at the center of this fraud. And interestingly, he's very confident that there will be no document linking him to any borrowing from these 9 financial entities. In fact, this is quite correct. And that is why this reads more like a plot for a thriller movie. Let's go back to the Ketan Parekh stocks. Okay, they were called K10. DSQ Software was one of them. Soared sky high and then crashed. When he had to make deliveries, he made all kinds of allegations. In fact, I have documented it in detail in a series of articles that I wrote for the Indian Express those days, which are archived on my website, suchetadalal.com. You can see them. He had the temerity to increase his capital by 50% without informing either shareholders or holding any meeting, and delivered those shares in Calcutta. He duped the NSDL, the depository. Even they had no idea how this capital had increased. All this has been a subject of long investigation. Now, this time, equally unreal story. Dinesh Dalmia says there's not a single document, which is true, because he ensured that his name isn't there. Now, the lenders here have still named him. So the first complaint, where there is a formal FIR that has been filed in Chennai and an investigation has started, has been filed by a company called Vivriti Capital Limited. I have a copy of that FIR. It turns out from that FIR and documents that have been shared with me by 3 different people that apart from Vivriti, and I'm going to talk more about that and how it was cheated, there were all these 7 or 8 other entities, several banks and lenders who, once they realized that they had been cheated, ordered a forensic audit. And I have a copy of that audit as well. Vivriti filed the complaint on 6th April 2024. By then, it was too late. It names Dinesh Dalmia as the first accused. It accuses him of breach of trust, conspiracy, cheating, and forgery. Now, how does this happen if he says he hasn't signed anything? Before we get to that, here are some facts about the core company and the network of companies and persons that he assembled in order to do this fraud. Vivriti Capital's complaint is against a company called Right Health Platter Limited, incorporated in Jan 2020. Remember, this was just a couple of months before the COVID pandemic and everything was shut down. Soon enough, a whole network of related entities was incorporated, again between 2020 and 2023. Many of them had common directors, including a company with a similar sounding name, Right Health Product Private Limited. This, in fact, fits in with Dinesh Dalmia's past modus operandi of creating companies with very similar names, multiple companies, sometimes in different jurisdictions, so that it's impossible to know one from the other. Now, Vivriti's FIR names the following people: Dinesh Dalmia, Mr. Gopal Padia, Ramnath Armugam, Pankaj Dalmia, Yekulu Venkat Subaya, and Murli Babu, as connected to the group of companies that seem to have worked together to dupe Indian lenders and Vivriti. All of them, one way or the other, associated with Right Health Platter. Some of them have told me that they were manipulated by Dinesh Dalmia. According to Vivriti, in March 2022, Dinesh Dalmia, Gopal Padia, this is a Singapore-based industrialist, and Ramnath Armugam approached it for a 5.5 crore loan on behalf of Right Health Platter. They also said that Pankaj Dalmia was a director of Right Health Platter and a partner in another company called KPM Fortune Advisors LLP. It's a partnership. All very true. Dinesh Dalmia identified himself as an advisor to Pankaj Dalmia, and he claimed he was the chief operating officer of Right Health Platter right until June 2023. According to Vivriti, it was Dinesh Dalmia who provided all the corporate information to them. The others were directors of the company. Now, if Dinesh Dalmia was there and he was the CEO, what was the problem? A big issue. He didn't call himself Dinesh Dalmia. He apparently represented himself as Dinesh Kumar, which is why Vivriti did not make the connection between the notorious DSQ software and all the shenanigans and didn't realize it was the same person. Frankly, I don't know how companies do their due diligence. See that as me. Now let's come to the others. Gopal Padia. He was the big financier, Singapore-based businessman. He owns a company called Avmore Pte Limited. He said he was a significant shareholder in Right Health Platter. He also claimed that he was a customer importing its products. Much of this is alleged by Vivriti and, according to them, turned out to be false. Right Health Platter claims that it was in the dairy business, that it had facilities in Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. And Mr. Padia allegedly told Vivriti that his company was in the process of investing a significant amount of money in Right Health Platter to shore up its dairy business. He provided sureties for the money borrowed from Vivriti, and he apparently had made a commitment to them not to sell his shares without informing the lenders. All this went on until August 2023, when Right Health Platter defaulted on its loans. Vivriti then claims that it discovered that Gopal Padia had resigned from RHP already, had sold his shareholding without informing the lenders, and that RHP had transferred large sums of money to Singapore-based entities that apparently are linked to him, according to the forensic audit. His assurance that receivables from certain foreign customers would be deposited in an escrow account also allegedly turned out to be false. Now, astoundingly, Vivriti's FIR suggests that it woke up to the fraud. How? By receiving an email from Dinesh Dalmia / Dinesh Kumar in that avatar. This was after RHP began to default. So on 22nd August 2023, Dinesh Dalmia / Urf Dinesh Kumar emailed Vivriti highlighting the wrongdoings of RHP with respect to misappropriation of company funds, allegedly by Gopal Padia, and siphoning off company funds to his group companies. This email spoke about transfer of funds to Singapore companies. It said that minority shareholders of Right Health Platter had approached the National Company Law Tribunal. We don't know if that is true. This is all in the FIR. Also said a complaint had been filed by RHP against Padia, even in Singapore. I have not verified it. In short, Vivriti discovered all the wrongdoings of RHP and that it was routing funds through related group companies based on fabricated purchase orders, discounting them from Vivriti Capital and transferring money to related entities, mainly through an email of Dinesh Dalmia. So August 23 is when Vivriti woke up, so did the 8 other lenders. They realized a big fraud had been perpetrated on them. They had extended all kinds of facilities, bill discounting, some export financing, what have you. The amounts, like I said, total up to nearly 200 crores. Who were they? Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, SBI Global Factor Limited, FinCare Small Finance Bank, Maglix Labs Private Limited, IndusInd Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, and also IIFL, that's India Infolines, IIFL Finance Limited. By September, October 2023, 3 lenders had declared RHP a fraud account. They formed the Joint Lenders Forum led by Axis Bank. They appointed VCan and Company of Gujarat to conduct a forensic audit. Strangely enough, IndusInd Bank and Bank of Maharashtra did not participate in the forensic audit, and IIFL Finance, which I know lent an unsecured loan of 10 lakhs at a 22% interest, also does not seem to have participated in the forensic audit. Before we go into the forensic audit and the network of linked entities, and I'm not going to go into the layers and layers because they're all essentially shell companies which have been created, and somebody tells me that the directors and creating of these companies is all kinds of employees, drivers, and others who have been named as directors. This is for government investigators to finally do their job and find out. It is enough for you to know that even today, with all the online stuff, all the KYC that the rest of us have to do, it is so easy in the last 3 years to create a network of layered companies which dupe our banks and financial institutions. There is no KYC worth talking about that apparently happens. And Dinesh Dalmia calls himself Dinesh Kumar and can take away 200 crores. It is still happening. Now, when I WhatsApped Dinesh Dalmia, he told me and asked him about Gopal Padia. He says Gopal Padia is a school friend. He says he got taken for a ride and blames him for everything. He even tries to blame Pankaj Dalmia. Pankaj Dalmia, when I connected with him, says he's not related to Dinesh Dalmia, but knew the family in Calcutta and in Chennai. He also thinks that he was chosen as a scapegoat because of the surname Dalmia, because it's easy for people to believe that they may be related. He also says that most of the big borrowing, transfer of funds, facilities, overseas transfers occurred after he had resigned from Right Health Platter, as well as this limited liability partnership called KMP Fortune Advisors LLP. He resigned on 29th March 2023. In fact, after the police have summoned him, he has been at work in order to establish his innocence. He has created flow charts of how money has flowed from each of these lenders, not one, 6 of them, who are all named in the forensic audit. He also says he has not met Gopal Padia. I mean, look at this. A bunch of people, they don't even know each other. The central figure is Dinesh Dalmia. He has not met Gopal Padia. 3 separate sources told me that an online portal called The Right Move, and The Right Move, I'm showing you a link here, is there online, claims to have free-range organic dairy products, and is again linked to Right Health Platter as well as Dinesh Dalmia. Now, the VCan forensic audit traced 2 sets of related entities. One is a group that was directly related to RHP and the key players. So Gopal Padia, Pankaj Dalmia, Ramnath Arbogam, these are common directors in all these companies. What are these companies? KMP Fortune Advisors, Radin Health Food Private Limited, Vegan House Private Limited, Right Health Product Private Limited. We will show those to you in a ticker. Others that were routing money were many more, but the key ones again were Kamadhenu Beverages Private Limited, Exemplar Dealcom Private Limited. There were 3 private entities with names like Arrowline. Arrowline was the first name, Arrowline Foods and Beverages, Arrowline Organic Products, Arrowline Dairy Products. Again, part of a similar modus operandi to cause confusion. Most were incorporated between 2020 and 2022 and had a lot of financial dealings between them and between the key companies from which money flowed out. The forensic audit lays bare this intricate network of companies incorporated to layer transactions and also execute cross-border money transfers to siphon funds and defraud lenders. For instance, 55.60 crores was transferred from HDFC Bank to three Singapore companies, Eurotrade, Springbok, and Grove Trading, GROV, trading in Singapore. They, according to the forensic audit, appear related and seem to be under the control of Gopal Padia. The audit says the overseas transfers are all bunched up, seem to have been done in a hurry, and are clearly not part of regular business transactions. Here's a chart which shows you some of the names of these companies that have been used to layer transactions. We can also confirm remittances by RHP to Gopal Padia's Singapore entities, the same ones that I mentioned, Grove Trading, Eurotrade, Springbok. It also finds that Gopal Padia at times was known as Gopal Krishna Padia, called himself Gopal Krishna. In what context? The forensic audit is a little hazy. Then it talks about emails that were received from Grove and Springbok to the lenders, which claimed that Right Health Platter belongs to Dinesh Dalmia. They refer to him as a known history cheater. They deny any dealings with them, including all the export documents that they have received. Look at one of these emails that I'm showing you on the screen. He even talks about, to our utter surprise, we have received 5 sets of shipping and export documents from your good bank issued by Right Health Platter Chennai, and they say we have nothing to do with them. Now, all this, like I said, is a matter of investigation. They have said, Springbok also has said, this is Springbok, that Right Health Platter is run by Dinesh Dalmia. Why is it that nobody pointed out earlier that Dinesh Dalmia is the same as Dinesh Kumar? I messaged Gopal Padia for his views. He says that this is another game played by Dinesh Dalmia by victimizing me. I think that he will need to explain, not to me, but to lenders and to the police who are investigating it. He says he is traveling and will get in touch with me soon. Meanwhile, Axis Bank inspected RHP's premises finally in November 2023. This was at MIDC at Baramati in Pune. We've got a photograph here, which actually puts Dinesh Dalmia over there. I sent the photograph to Dalmia and asked him about it. He does not even say who is in the photo with him, just says it's in Maharashtra. But if it is in Maharashtra, it is Baramati, it is the dairy operation. Now, here's what Axis Bank found. They found it was a fly-by-night operation with fraudulent intent. They operated out of a rented premises. There were no stocks, no invoices, operations, officials, or staff. Fixed assets were rented and unused. Power and fuel supply had stopped. There was nothing there. A complete shell. I think this is when all the lenders realized that they had been taken for a royal ride by a master fraudster. And the fact that this has happened over and over again itself is a remarkable story. Will it get investigated properly? Will people come out with the truth? Or will Dalmia continue and make a comeback? We don't know. At the moment, he denies everything. There are no documents, but there are photographs. There are people who tell me there are thousands of emails received by him. Maybe they're in the name of Dinesh Kumar. He would have created an ID. Let's talk about forgery and fraud. The police are going to have a tough job linking it up. It also depends on how serious the lenders are about getting to the bottom of it. Will they get their money back? We don't know. They haven't in the past. If you like this, share it. There are lots of people, including employees of DSQ Software, who are still waiting for their money from those good old days of 2001 too. Thank you.